Washington's newest library edition, due to open in June, and not a book in sight. Across the US, more and more services are being delivered online. Texas is planning the nation's first bookless library, while digital reading rooms like this will become more common.
This might not have a lot to do with books, but it has a lot to do with learning, and that's all about the library.
Ginny Cooper is Washington's chief librarian. This isn't the end of books, she says, but a new chapter.
The role of the public library has always been to be the people's university. We really are all about economic development, and that means helping people make their way in the world. This is a place where you can test your idea, maybe even do a 3D model of something you're thinking you'll do. All kinds of things will happen here. It extends what the library does and changes it for today's world.
In the reading room of the National Archives, people come from all over the world to access anything from federal court records to photographs of the American Civil War. But since the 1990s, such institutions have been making these documents available online, culminating in the Digital Public Library of America, a new project to create a single access point for the nation's cultural and scientific history.
I think it's an acknowledgement of the fact that the kids who are in school today, when they're looking for information, their first line of defense is Google. And if it's not online, it doesn't exist. So instead of fighting this, let's make it happen. Let's make it available online.
But the physical space is still important, which is why the District of Columbia Public Library has invested $13.5 million in another new building. This one has books, but most people come here for the free Wi-Fi, computers and digital content. Print books still represent a multi-billion-dollar industry, but new research shows that almost half of American teenagers now read books, magazines and newspapers online, which is why new libraries are being built for a future when more than just books will be on the shelves. Of course, nothing beats the real thing.
This is a letter that was written by Galileo.
So I'm touching something that's how many hundreds of years old?
Well, Galileo was born in 1564 and he died in 1642, so 17th century, mid-17th century.
And this is an experience, of course, you cannot get online.
Absolutely not.
The manuscript is owned by the Smithsonian's Dibner Library of the History of Science and Technology. Tucked away behind the scenes of the popular American History Museum, few tourists know it exists. But seeing its treasures online may encourage them to visit.
You can't understand what it's like to interact with a document that may be centuries old any more than you can understand the emotion surrounding Abraham Lincoln's hat if you don't see the real hat. And we have both those things here.
A record 2.46 billion books and other materials were borrowed from US libraries in 2010, the latest figures available. The demand for e-books is growing, but software compatibility and copyright disputes could slow lending rates. Real books won't be disappearing for a very long time.